I just want to start off by saying we record this Monday episode on camera, right?
Yes, it's true.
I have a blue background and I'm wearing a pink shirt, and you have a pink shirt or a blue shirt and you have a pink background.
Oh, I didn't see your shirt. Here. Ah, yeah. Okay. So we're both a little male, a little female today.
This is just a gender neutral podcast where anybody can wear anything they want.
We're rocking it.
Including two very common colors.
That aren't actually gender specific anymore. Unless
colors should in no way be gender specific.
Unless you're currently announcing the birth of a child.
Even then.
Yeah.
Just wear a shirt. Don't make a big spectacle of it and burn half the state down.
That's right. Don't do that for sure.
This podcast we treat as a form of therapy, right?
Right. Well, it's become that.
Yeah, it's certainly transitioned into that. And one of the things that I've always said is, for the most part, and look, your cup is blue. Amazing. My cup is silver. We're always honest with the listeners to the best of their knowledge. We're always honest with them.
We have not made things up.
No.
We've not told lies.
Absolutely not.
We have probably been unreasonably honest at times.
Yeah. 1,000%. So when things happen in my life, I and you try to bring that to this forum and talk about it. So I'm assuming we're in the trust tree, just you and I and however many listeners we have.
Yeah.
I have a quick reality to share with everybody.
Is it a confession?
I mean, sure.
Okay, I'm so excited.
I accidentally peed my pants the other day.
I was not expecting that. I thought it was going to be like,
I don't know the last time that happened. I wouldn't say I was like potty training. I'm sure that's happened since then, but I couldn't think about the exact time I unintentionally, never intentionally, peed my pants. And here's the problem. This is how this works.
Is this going to make me uncomfortable?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
This is how this works with men, right? If you are wearing pants, the way you go to the bathroom is you have a fly.
Right.
Or if you have the buttons, you unbutton it. Maybe you have to undo a belt, right?
Right.
So for women, oftentimes, if you go to the bathroom the same way.
Right.
And the easiest access for women is if you're wearing a dress or a skirt, right? You just hike it up.
Yeah, but you still have to pull something down.
Of course, under your underwear.
Yeah, if you're wearing underwear.
Right. So if men are wearing pants, that's really the only way to do it. Now, if men are wearing shorts, depending on the type of shorts you're wearing, you might also have a button or a fly, and so you would go about it the same way. I wear drawstring shorts more often than not. It's very common for me to wear drawstring shorts. Now, there's every guy, all two of them who listen to this podcast are like, yes, that's absolutely correct. So oftentimes there is no fly on drawstring, right? It's meant to be comfortable. They're one step up from sweatpants.
Or pajamas.
Totally.
Yeah.
So there's no normal thing that goes about that. So there's two options. You can either pull your short leg up, which not many men are endowed enough to do that, or
that would seem weird to me.
Totally agree. Or you just pull the waistline down, right? Exactly. So 10 times out of 10, I pull the waistline down. You don't
we've got to stop for a minute.
Yeah.
Are there men that go out their leg like that?
If they do, congratulations. You won the genetic lottery. I don't know anybody that would do that. If they do, again,
things
good
I
for
didn't
you.
know.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
So my drawstring is always tied, and it's not like tight, but it's always tied, and nobody will ever just undo their drawstring to get more slack in the waistband. You just pull them down and you go to the bathroom and you pop it back up and you're on your day. That in and of itself is foolproof, right? I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I can certainly navigate pulling my shorts down. That's not a hard lift for me. But at the same time, you're not trying to fully expose yourself. You just need to do it enough to get the act done. Here's where the problem comes in. Oftentimes, I'm on my phone. And so I will just go through the muscle memory of taking my waistband down and going to the bathroom while looking at something on my phone.
Oh, you're not saying on the phone, with
No. Like on the phone, looking at social media, reading an email, doing anything normal wise. So the other day, same thing, go to the bathroom, A to B to C to D, and phone's in my hand, starting to go to the bathroom, and I don't hear water. Like I don't hear the toilet water being introduced to urine.
Do you feel it?
I hear water against fabric. And I realized I haven't fully released the Kraken to have a seamless transition to relieve myself. It's at an angle. It's bent in towards my shorts and the front of my pants saturated with urine.
Cool.
Totally covered in it. And in that moment...
Like, did it go, like, just the women want to know, like, down your legs into your shoes?
Well, no, because it was a direct hit onto my shorts. The shorts were like, soaked it all up. Okay. And then the worst part for any guy, and I don't know if this is the same for women, stopping going number one is not comfortable for men.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, it is hard, I think, like, when you're in the throes of the flow, let's say that.
Yep.
I think it's hard for anybody just to cut it off.
Yeah.
Now, it's not painful for women that I know. It's not painful for me.
It's not painful, but it doesn't. It's like not a good sensation. Like it's not like, hey, we stopped.
Okay.
It's like, okay, we stopped. So you have to stop because if you're trying, because again, my one hand has a phone in it. The other one is holding the waistband down.
And it didn't occur to you to set the phone down?
Where am I going to set it down? I'm going to turn around to the sink.
The top of the toilet has a thing you can set on.
But then I'm moving forward and the urine is going still onto my pants.
Okay, all right.
So you try to like take the waistband and shove it down further to like really free everything up. But then your member is just left to dangle and you're still in the moment of going to the bathroom. So you have to like stop it, readjust it, aim it. And by then it's not all over me. It's all over the floor at this point.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could do was start laughing.
By yourself.
I was 36 years old and I just peed my pants. And and I'm sitting there being like,
yep.
Here we go. There's only one way you can salvage an incident like this. And it's going on the podcast that you do with your mom to talk about it.
And so for all those ladies out there that are really attracted by this story, at Kevin Zener, just feel free to drop in
if
his
you
DM
were a good mother, what you would do is you would tell me about the last time you peed your pants.
Oh my God, Kevin. I mean, I gave birth to an 11-pound child. Like, I don't know, yesterday, the day before, when I laugh, when I sneeze, when whatever. Do you know what I mean?
I do think early on in this podcast, we have a bunch of outtakes of you leaving the studio to say, I can't take this. I'm going to go pee my pants.
Yeah. I mean, I was laughing so hard. Well, what I was going to say to you is, when we first found out Dad had bladder cancer, you and I took it upon ourselves to stock up on all the things we thought he would need. And one of them was men's diapers.
Yeah.
And Dad was having none of it. They got moved from the bedroom to the garage. God knows where they are now. We did use them on Izzy for a while. We cut a place for her tail.
Frightening.
Used them. But I mean, I don't know, Kevin. You know, what we said to Dad is they'll hardly show, especially under drawstring pants.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you need to go that avenue, you should be confident and use them.
Just pee your pants. There's something to be said for just having adult diapers on and peeing your pants.
And peeing your pants.
Nobody's saying go number 2. That's psycho stuff. But like if you're like, I can fully sign off on the idea that if like you're in a festival or if you're going to somewhere where bathrooms are not easily accessible, pee your pants.
Pee your pants. Wear a diaper.
Wear a diaper. Pee your pants.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a thought. I would say be careful though with that diaper on because I didn't put it on Izzy. I only put it on Izzy because we were trying to get her to not lick a spot. We were still taking it off for her to go outside. However, she did pee in it, which was shocking to me because it wasn't like she was outside plenty and she pooped in it.
Yeah, that's gross.
So that's weird.
She didn't follow the number 1 rule. Don't go number 2
don't do
in
a
the
number
diaper.
2. Yep.
Well, this is really all I have to say about this. It's taken us 87 episodes for this podcast to officially jump the shark, where we opened with one of the hosts peeing his pants.
And I do want to say to any new listeners, this is not normally how it goes, but welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast.
Let's start the podcast.
Welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. One is a Harvard Business School alum. The other is her son, discussing business, pop culture, family, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Deb and Kev.
Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. Sitting across from me is the woman who will now single-handedly bring down the airline industry. It's my mom, Deb.
I'm Deb.
And whenever she's on a customer service call, I'm the Michael Jackson eating popcorn from the Thriller video gif. I'm her son, Kev. And this is our podcast. On today's show, in her business segment, Deb's going to give us some straightforward advice and talk about sales tips. Not steak tips, sales tips. It's been a long enough time, and we've had enough opportunities to scour the internet for the best stuff it has to offer, and we'll give it all to you in the segment we call Good Job Internet. And to wrap it all up, we will tell you what we're thankful for, and we swear this week we will cook something. But first, Deb, we're recording this podcast on Sunday, June 13th. This podcast will come out on June 14th. Do you know what holiday is June 14th? I opened my calendar app and it told me.
I do. I know this from the top of my head.
What is it?
Flag Day.
Okay, here we go. Rapid fire Flag Day related questions for Deb.
Oh, no.
What is Flag Day?
Flag Day is the day that we celebrate our love for the American flag.
Or we just acknowledge that the flag was created
By Betsy Ross?
That is true.
Okay.
Do you know what year the United States adopted its flag?
1776?
Ooh, Deborah.
Is that right?
1777.
Seriously?
Dead serious.
I think it, but wait.
Yeah, no.
I bet it was made in 76 for the 1777.
Well, we adopted it in 1777. I don't believe the question was, when did we start working on the flag?
Okay, fine.
On the original flag, how many stripes were on it?
The answer to the stars or stripes one way, 13?
That is correct, Deborah. Yeah. 13 stripes on the first flag. How many stars were on the first flag?
I think 13 in a circle.
That is correct, Deborah. There was 13 stars on the first flag. Bonus question. I had no idea about this. I just learned about it as I was researching Flag Day. What do the white stars on the blue background symbolize? If you get this, I know you cheated. Not that you knew that we were going to do this, but still.
Was, how could I cheat? The white stars on the blue, like, is it nighttime and stars?
Okay, I love it. Keep going. Follow this progression.
Yeah, sky.
Yep.
Stars.
Yep.
Was it?
Think about, 300 years ago, what do people refer to stars as? Get there.
What did they refer to stars as?
Yeah, like a group of stars.
Oh, like you mean like Orion and the Big Dipper?
Okay, what are those called? What are those called? What are those called? What do they call those? There's a word for them. Yes.
Don't have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep thinking.
Not a galaxy.
There.
That's too much. That's the Milky Way.
Smaller group of stars in the shape of something.
Stars. Yeah. Don't have it.
Constellation.
Oh, constellations. That's
right. It represented the new country, a new constellation, out with the old, which was the British, in with the new, which was America. The stars with the blue background symbolize the new constellation, which gave way to a new country.
Wow. I was close.
And people say they don't learn anything on this podcast.
I know. I was close.
Well, there you go. That's Flag Day for everybody.
It's Flag Day, so everybody make notes.
Go impress your friends with this newfound information.
And if you have a flag, put it out and wave it proudly.
Yeah, well, it's the summer. It should already be out, right?
Right.
We are not redoing segments. These are new stories we are sharing with you. They just so happen to happen frequently to Deb. You had another horrendous experience traveling yesterday. You were supposed to be home at 5:30 in the afternoon. Not bad. Saturday afternoon, leave your Sunday to your own wishes. What time did you get home last night?
11:30.
Home at 11:30, in the door at midnight.
In the door at midnight.
Please regale us with the horror that was sitting in an airport.
I just don't think anybody wants to hear it anymore.
I do.
I don't even want to tell it hardly. So this will be the quick version of it.
Yeah. We have an hour to kill. Don't worry. You can be as long as you want.
As you all know, I was on the way to my trip. I sat in Chicago for 7 hours. And because I'd complained about that.
Nobody knows that. How would anybody know that? We haven't made a podcast since then.
No, that was in our last. We knew that was going to happen in our last podcast.
Oh, you mean just sitting there? Yeah.
Yeah. So they gave me an Admirals Club pass, which of course did make it more comfortable, but it was 7 hours.
And here's the thing I want to say about the Admirals Club. The Admirals Club, all it really does, this is all it does, is it gets you out of the chaos of being in the terminal. It is a quote unquote VIP section, which usually takes you to the second story of an airport. Many people don't even know there's a second story at most airports. And it allows you to sit in more comfortable chairs with less people around you. And you can eat as many blocks of cheese and hummus as you want. And you have free reign to soda. That's it. That's all it is. It's just a bit of separation from the chaos from the airport.
Well, there is a bar if you want to drink.
Sure, but you can go get drinks downstairs.
Right. And there are, I think, TVs at the bar. There's usually like a little quiet section. Some of them have showers. I mean, there are some amenities, and it's quieter. But that's it.
If you're going to the Admirals Club to take a shower,
yeah,
something's gone horribly wrong on your trip.
Horribly wrong. And I've done it. So anyways, I get to Chicago and everything's looking great, and everyone's sitting at the gate, and the weather's beautiful. And probably about, I'm going to say maybe the hour before we're supposed to leave. I sent you a picture, in fact. You couldn't see the
It looked
airplane.
like a monsoon.
Looked like a monsoon. This weather rolled in with fog and clouds and pouring down rain. And I was like, oh no. And that lasted about an hour. And then it all cleared out.
Yep.
So we expected that the plane didn't land. I mean, we knew there was going to be a little delay.
You had assumed the plane had at least taken off from its original place.
Which it had.
And was just circling. And once the weather separated, it was going to land.
That was the problem. It went till Milwaukee.
Oh, it got rerouted.
It got rerouted.
Oh, no.
So we sat there for like another hour and a half with them telling us it's coming from Milwaukee.
Right.
They gave us times. They gave us schedules.
Which is weird that they would reroute to Milwaukee, because Milwaukee in and of itself is
like
only
right there.
an hour drive away.
Right. But it was Milwaukee.
Got it.
In fact, I found out that in the air, Milwaukee is only a 28-minute flight to Chicago.
Flameal, Flamassel, Haas and Pepper Incorporated. Is that where Laverne and Shirley took place, was Milwaukee?
I think maybe it was. So there you go.
That's a deep dive for your son.
So we sit there, and the girl, every time the girl gets on the announcement, she goes, so I've got some good news, so I've got some bad news.
How many times was she communicating, like every hour?
I'm going to say like once every 45 minutes.
Too much or too little for you?
Fine.
Got it.
It was fine. Until then she goes, well, I've kind of got some good news.
Okay. Always suspect when she doesn't know if it's good or bad news.
You're at gate H11.
Yep.
And if anybody's been to Chicago, it's a big airport.
Yep.
If you can, O'Hare.
Yep.
If you can make your way to gate K20.
Wow.
Now it's a whole different place.
Yeah, we're in a whole different wing.
If you can go down there, there's going to be a plane and you're going to take off.
And this is, how delayed are you at this point?
Hour and a half. 2 hours,
okay,
maybe.
so not the worst, certainly not the best.
Oh, still hopeful.
Yeah.
And I'm still fine.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
hope has not been smothered with inside you yet.
No.
Okay.
And the people I'm sitting around are friendly and nice. And I have another Admirals Club pass, but I can't use it because every 20 minutes they're telling me we're going to take off. Right.
Yep.
So go down to K20, sit around, watch the plane for Madrid take off. Watch the plane for London take off.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
International.
Yeah, people.
And you're just trying to go across the country.
People were super excited about those flights.
Yeah.
And so then they say, okay, we're getting ready to load. Oh, there's a maintenance problem.
Unbelievable.
And so
there is, listen, weather is truly uncontrollable. There's nothing a human being can do with that. Maintenance is the most infuriating thing to go wrong on an airplane, especially when that airplane just landed. Now, I know everybody's going to look at me and say, Kevin, the last thing in the world you would want going wrong on an airplane is a maintenance related issue because that's something that can be helped. Of course, I'm with you. I have had 2 times where my flight got delayed because the coffee maker wasn't working.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's usually what it's nothing typically having to do with anything flight related. It's usually something totally innocuous. And they keep you in the dark for a reason, because when they tell you the coffee maker's broken, that's when you want to start committing mass murder in the airport.
Oh, for sure. So then we just sit back. Now we're like really waiting. And then it goes to like, the time goes from, if we were supposed to take off, 3:30 has come and gone.
You're supposed to leave at 3:00 Central Time.
Right. So that has come and gone. We're probably more like at 5:15 now.
Got it.
Then it just starts, no announcements. You just get it on the app. It'll be 5:45. It'll be 6. At 6, they said it'll be 2 hours.
Yep.
And then everybody was just like, are you kidding me?
And now you're officially past departing when you should have been landing. And that's where my brain goes. And then that sends me on a tailspin.
I would have been home by now.
Yep.
It would have been daylight. And then you saw tons of people rush the podium. And I'm thinking, what's going on?
Yeah.
What are they doing? And there were gobs of people that were like, no way, book me tomorrow. Which I was like, what?
Interesting.
That just was weird.
Do you think they thought they could get credits?
I don't know what they thought. They weren't giving away anything free. It wasn't that kind of
because there's no way anything's connecting through Reno at all.
No. So the only thing I can think is if people got nervous if they were going up to Lake Tahoe or something like that and just thought it was too late. But I wanted to go. It's still light out there, folks.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. Of course, at that point, I thought it was going to be fine. But the good thing about, I hadn't been upgraded to first class yet.
Yeah.
The good thing was a bunch of these people took off. And all of a sudden, boom, I'm in first class. So now I'm going to hang in for the flight. And so, we just set. And they said 8:00. Then they get on the thing and they go, we don't have a crew.
Of course.
We had a pilot and a co-pilot. We didn't have a crew. Then the girl actually made an announcement and said, okay, we're waiting for this other crew to land. Here's kind of the issue. They think they're going home. They think they're done for the day.
Like in Chicago's their base.
So we have to pull them aside, have a chat.
You're like, ruin their day. We don't care.
Well, we're like, ruin their day, but they're going to hate us.
Oh, who cares?
So,
everybody's angry on the flight
everyone's mad anyways. So they walk up. A couple funny things along the way. There was a guy wearing a Free Hugs T-shirt. I wanted to punch him. Okay, I just wanted to go up.
There was one line who wanted to fight him, and then just another line of people waiting to be consoled.
Waiting to be hugged. Yeah, I was in the line that wanted to fight him.
I would be in that line too.
And then some passengers made me furious because finally, when the steward eye came. They cheered them.
Oh, that's insane.
Oh, don't cheer them.
Thanks for doing your job.
Yeah. Ugh. And so, at this point, you can tell my attitude is deplorable.
Right there with you, Deb.
Yeah.
I am in the emotional space that you're in. And if you don't fly enough, we sound like the most hard-hearted people in the world. But if you've ever experienced something like this, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Well, so then I start talking to this really nice young girl that just moved from Michigan to Reno, and she was just delightful. And we were talking for a while, and she actually went and bought me a Diet Coke.
That was nice of her.
Shout out to Lynn, my new friend. And
Lynn.
We did exchange numbers. So
did you tell her about the podcast?
I did tell her about the podcast. And she doesn't know Reno very well, so I'm probably going to call her for a coffee.
Lynn's coming over for dinner.
Exactly. Lynn is coming over for dinner. So, anyways, we lifted off at 9:50 Central Time.
Brutal.
And so I can appreciate that those flight attendants were tired, but here's the conversation I hear, like when I'm going to the bathroom. She's counting, the snack boxes they give out now.
Yeah.
There are 16 spots in first class, and they're not all full. And she says, there's 16 snack boxes. Oh, I'm not going to give them those. This is a 4.5 hour flight.
Right.
And then they had the thing where you can get the cheese and fruit or the sandwich.
Yep.
And she goes, we'll just do those. I mean, it's like, no, give us everything you have. Throw it all at us.
Don't you want to look at her and be like, I understand 1,000% that your day is also ruined. You're getting paid to do this. There is money coming your way. We paid for the right to sit in an airport 6+ hours. Give us the thing that doesn't cost you anything.
And it's already here on the plane.
Right. What are you saving it for?
I mean, what do you want? Oreos and wheat thins to go home with? I mean, it's crazy. So then she, I mean, like right away, she took care of everybody, whatever drinks they wanted, then passed out our little food box, came right and cleaned it up like very, very fast. And then she went and sat and read. And everybody that wanted an additional drink had to get up out of their seat and go ask her for one.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy sitting next to me was very good spirited. He was trying to get to Sacramento. And kudo to his friend, whoever it was, that drove from Sacramento last night to pick him up.
Which is about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive.
Over a mountain pass.
Yeah.
Like, good friend. So anyways, I know nobody wants to hear this. It's because it's like, I'm going to be talking, this is how it's going to be every time.
That's
every
okay.
Week.
I, in no way, hope that your travel experience continues this way. But as it relates to podcast content, it definitely can fill up 10 to 15 minutes. And I don't think we're like over embellishing.
Oh, no.
The experiences that we have had flying have been bad. And
it's not just me. Like our friend flew Alaska. So I was in the terminal. There were 3 friends that were all kind of leaving to different parts of the country at similar times. So I'm in the terminal. I have a friend sitting on an Alaska airline jet trying to get back to Alaska who is on the tarmac forever.
The worst.
And she just said, like, could I have a water? And the flight attendant's like, I'm sorry, I can't serve you on the tarmac.
Right.
I mean, all that kind of stuff, right? And then she calls while she's sitting in the tarmac, Alaska Airlines, because she's worried she's going to miss her connection in Seattle. They say they can get her home to Alaska on Tuesday. So
reasonable.
She's livid. I mean, she says she's young, but she says she's officially turned into a Karen and she can't stop herself. And there's a little tiny part of her that's enjoying watching herself, right?
Yeah,
Which
sure.
And so then my other friend,
out of body experience, we're like, just lose control. Go for it.
Go for it. And so we go, good job, Kaya, in this situation, right? Who today is sitting in Seattle instead of her home in Alaska.
Not great.
And then my other friend, Sherry, literally just had to fly to Charlotte and then to Raleigh. And Raleigh is a very quick flight. And Mr. Connection. And she says, I could probably get a car and drive it.
Yep.
But I mean, I think I was finally bored. When I was boarding, Kaya had landed in Seattle with no hotel and no flight to get on, right? And I believe that Sherry had just gotten home to Raleigh. It was insane. I mean, it was just crazy.
And all you had was a tired son and a clean dog to pick you up.
I know. So when I got upstairs last night, I go, oh, did I leave your collar off? And then I went, oh, Kevin gave you a bath. And I ran over to her and sure enough, thanks, Kev.
Well, hey,
that was great.
I didn't bring that up to take any adulation, but I'll happily take it.
You also sent me the cutest picture of her ever.
Yeah.
I mean, so cute. But so just backwards, if anybody listened to last week's, Trey was the nice man at American Airlines who wrote me afterwards the most beautiful email. And I've wanted to respond to Trey, but I kind of thought I'm going to get this trip under my belt.
Let's see how much more ammo I have
Trey,
before I go back to Trey.
Poor Trey.
Do you want to talk about your trip, the reason for your trip? Because it was not actually work related. Yes, you had to do stuff, but you were asked to be a speaker at an event, which I think is pretty cool.
I was asked to be a speaker at an event for a women's conference, and it was, I think, incredible. It was located in St. Joseph's, Michigan, which is...
We all know where that is.
The cutest little town of 12,000 people that sits right on Lake Michigan. Mm-hmm. The weather was spectacular, a little humid for my liking.
Oh, yeah.
But still spectacular. We stayed in a beautiful inn right on a little cove. The talk went great, and the feedback I got on the talk was great. I actually even mentioned the podcast, so maybe We have some new listeners.
Welcome to all the new listeners, where every single episode we complain about customer service and our inability to go to the bathroom correctly.
Yeah, no, we don't complain about that.
Oh, that's just this episode.
Customer service a lot.
Yeah,
so
that's
if you
every
see,
episode.
I'm wearing a new bracelet.
Oh, that's fun.
And it says strength. Now, I always...
Was that mocking you yesterday at the airport?
It was somebody that said, like, this is what you need in order to endure Saturday, right?
Yep.
No. So you know how I like to gather young girlfriends, right?
Careful with that.
You know what I mean. Like young women.
I'm careful with that.
Oh, does that sound... It sounds like human
I
trafficking.
have binders of women.
No. But I love young women and their enthusiasm for life and
Me too.
the adventures of their journeys, if you will. Sure. And so this girl was a lovely young girl, beautiful inside and out, and was one of the speakers. She lives in Florida. Her name is Liz Marie. And I said, what a nice bracelet. And she took it off and put it on my arm and said, until we meet again.
Wow.
And so then I had a really nice bracelet.
And if we meet again, I'm not giving it back.
That
Liz.
I took off and put on her arm.
Oh,
Jimmy,
wow.
And said, and she knew who gave it to me. And I said, you wear this until we meet again.
Did I give it to you?
No,
Okay.
no, somebody else did. And see how he is, folks. You
I
see
just
how he is?
I just want credit. If somebody else was given a gift that I gave them, I want secondhand praise.
Yeah. So, no, it was a nice little swap. I mean, she was just, you know, when you meet somebody, there's a connection and you just feel like, kind of like you've known them your whole life, but you're so excited. Do you know that feeling, Kevin?
I don't.
Okay, well.
Of course I do.
So it was, I will say, it was that way with Liz Marie, and it was a little that way with Lynn at the airport as well.
Got it.
But there were tons and tons, too many to mention, really fabulous women. And I think everybody it was perfect timing for all these women to get out of their businesses, their homes, their lives, and go see faces that they haven't seen in a long time that truly, there was the conference and then there was the beautiful spending time together.
That's awesome.
It was terrific.
That's great. Love that.
Yeah.
Sorry that it got bookended with a bad flight.
Yeah. But it'll be, you and I are leaving in a little bit next week. I still have that one Admirals Club pass, hoping to get more out of trade this week.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see how it goes.
Love that.
Yeah.
And I will say this, being able to experience bad things with somebody, infinitely better than doing it by yourself.
The bad doesn't last for us for long. I mean, really, for me, once I'm on the airplane, I'm kind of good.
But even still, even when you're in the throes of it, like when we were trying to get to Mexico, the side-eye glances, the understanding that we both would Bonnie and Clyde this whole situation if we could, that helps.
Yeah.
Being able to bitch and moan to somebody helps. If you're the person who's trying to bitch and moan to a stranger and you're by yourself, you're the crazy person. But if you have a friend that you're bitching and moaning with, then it's just good old-fashioned fun.
Well, it was funny because when Lynn and I were talking, there was an older gentleman that was kind of listening to us, and he didn't say anything, but I finally turned and I said, it would be my greatest dream that you were the president of American Airlines listening to this.
Yep.
And he had the thickest Georgian accent. And he said, darling, I'm not, but I wish I was, So that's that's really what you're always hoping for,
yeah,
right?
That somebody of note can do something.
That
Yeah,
you get
absolutely.
that here. Yeah. So.
All right, Deb, enough of this fun-filled talk of travel. We need you to get to work here.
Okay.
Talk to us, give us some guidance, add some advice as it relates to sales tips.
So one of the things that's been coming up with people that I work with lately is sales. And one of the things that I've been hearing, and sales people have ups, they have downs, they have times when it goes great. They have times when it doesn't go so great.
Cyclical.
There are times when I think that really just luck is involved, meaning the right person walked in at the right time. They were ready to buy. You jived. It was the easiest sale of your life. I think everybody knows when those things happen. And what we're supposed to say is, thank you, God. Do you know what I mean? Like that it went like that. But mostly sales is us really having a strategy or a plan and doing it a certain way. One thing that I keep hearing lately, and so this is what I want to talk about because I think it's wrong and I think we can do it better. People will say, I don't understand. I mean, I treat everybody the same way. And then I say, that's exactly the problem. Because I think good sales, and I'm talking about, I don't care if you were a girl at the candy shop that's helping me pick out, a little gourmet caramel, right?
Yep.
I think connection is the key. And I think it's not the same connection with everybody else. So I'll use myself for an example. If I'm a customer, I might walk in and somebody would think, oh, she's a woman. She's a woman of a certain age. Oh, I don't think anybody would ever think like I look well-to-do or make those kind of assumptions, but they might think like, well, she's put together well. She doesn't seem frail, but still they can put me in a box that isn't exactly right.
Right. With some critical thinking.
Exactly. So if they start treating me like someone's grandma, which by the way, I'm not yet.
Technically.
Could be. Yeah. Not that I know of. Could be, but I'm not. And they start talking to me like that, it's going to offend me.
Of course.
I'm not going to be happy about it, right? So that makes salespeople don't use terms of endearment. Don't call me dear. Don't call me honey. Don't call me sweetie. I don't like it. I don't know who does. All right.
She prefers hot stuff. When you see Deb, she says,
exactly what
how you doing, good looking? Let me help you out, hot stuff.
Exactly. That's what I want them to say. So I do think it's about just taking and, obviously if it's a candy counter, it's seconds.
Yep.
But like, how are you doing today? So gosh, we've got a lot here to choose from. Tell me what some of your favorite flavors are. Like that makes me love her because now I don't have to do the work of asking what everything is. Right. And then, I think that one, I use a candy shop because we went to that place south of town once and the girl was like, let me give you a little sample of this and see if you like our salted caramels. Do you know what I mean? The way they are. So I think one of the thing is number one, make a connection. And I'm saying a real connection, something that makes you like that person over all the other people you get to choose to buy from, right? So make a connection, and their goal should be that I should be really comfortable in the space that they're providing me to shop in or buy in, whatever it is. So even if it were...
Meaning like, don't car salesman them, like you just run up on them, ask them what they want, and then you proceed to be their shadow for their remaining time in your space.
And don't rush me. And if it is a candy counter and they have to help somebody else, then give me a little piece of caramel or whatever you're going to do. Tell me to try that. Say, hey, I want to finish with you, but let me take care of them and I'll be right back with you. So you're really being made to feel special.
Yep.
If you are in a doctor's office and getting Botox and the girl is trying to push 20 vials of Botox instead of 10, you're going to feel that. You're going to say like, oh, versus.
I only have so much face.
And here's the other part. Like, why is it you think I should have it? And it's really funny because, and I think that example where somebody needs to get to know you, if I only have a couple areas of my face that bother me, you can't launch on all the places that bother you.
Don't go wild with that marker on my face, please.
Unless I'm ready for it, unless I've asked. And so I do think there's that moment of, what am I looking for? Why am I there? What do I want? And then you making me feel like I've walked into the arms of the right and perfect person that can help me, right? Don't get salesy on me. It's when you start just saying things out of your mouth, people recognize that. They recognize that
as upsell.
Yeah, well, just even the same vernacular. It's coming out too smooth. It's coming out just without thinking. And if you were to just mix it up a little bit, use some new sentences. Adapt yourself for the person you're talking to, which I'm going to say is a little more work for sure.
Totally.
But guess what happens? You make more sales. That's what happens. The other part is when you become an expert in whatever it is you're selling, it makes me trust you more.
Yeah.
When you really establish. So if I seem like the kind of person that's going to ask 120 questions, don't just sit there and make me ask them. I'm not, by the way, but if I were, give me all the data that you can. Everything you have in your pocket, everything you know, just tell me. And even say something like, you sound like someone that would like a lot of information. Let me share this with you. I'm more of a nutshell, wrap it up, give it to me fast kind of girl. So if somebody ladens me with tons of data, I'm like going to get bored, become disinterested, and then the sale is lost.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of get to know just a little bit who you're talking to, right?
Yep.
And then I think there's a certain amount of respect of, would you like to taste the caramel? Would you like to take the car for a drive? Would you like to try these hearing aids on? Would you like me just to do a small area of Botox the first time? I mean, what would you like so that I can make you comfortable with this process, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's what all the sales things are like. So this is what I want to say. It would go to flight attendants because they're selling us on an experience, even though I know their job is to keep us safe ultimately. But hopefully, ultimately, they never have to do their real job.
Right.
That they just have to take care of us and give us a great experience, right? I mean, a doctor, hopefully, whatever procedure or whatever medicine or whatever thing he's recommending, hopefully that's going to go well with us. But, start with the step 1 with me. If I'm ready to go to step 10, great, we can go there together. And I'm going to let you know that from my language and my questions. But let's start with the step 1. We're building a foundation of trust so that I want to walk back into your place again. And I think that's one of the biggest things at the point that we end up distrusting. And right now, maybe I distrust American Airlines a little bit. So I am looking for all the problems.
Right.
I'm looking to pick the fly shit out of the pepper, right? I mean, I am just looking at it. And if American Airlines could give me a couple of really good experiences and make up for this, then I can let that kind of hypersensitive on the lookout for everything, I can let that go. I can relax because I'm going to trust that they're going to do their job.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about sales when I got into it, and I wasn't consciously in sales until I was 30. But then you realize every element of business is sales. You're selling yourself, you're selling an idea, you're selling a relationship. Everything you do, almost professionally or personally, is sales. And the best people, the best salesmen or women are the ones who you don't even know that they're selling you something.
Right.
Because it's conversational. All of the information they're providing is through normal banter. All of the things you desire, they're fulfilling in a totally non-abrasive, jam it down your throat style way, which then conforms to the apathy's not the right word, but void of emotion sales, meaning clearly I want you to buy this product. This is related to my profession. I get a piece of this. We all know that going into this interaction. But if it doesn't feel like that, if you just feel like a representative of the company whose only job it is to instill you with as much information as possible for you to make the best decision for yourself, that's the pinnacle of sales. Every salesman or woman should try to reach the point where all you're doing is giving the experience to the individual and then allowing them to make an educated choice for themselves. Because what do we know? I can shove all of the information at everybody. And regardless, they're going to act different depending on their needs and their wants in the immediate moment. But that doesn't mean that the sale's done long term, right? That just means, hey, you check up on them in a week or in a month or in a year. And maybe they've had enough time to sit with it and properly think like this is for me or this isn't for me. But because you're so not emotionally tied to the outcome, which of course we all know, both parties know you want the outcome to be the sale.
Right.
But because you're not at least acting like you're emotionally tied to the outcome, that almost instigates, incentivizes the potential buyer to want to do business with you because it's so easy to interact with you because the end game isn't at the front.
So when you say that, it makes me feel like when a salesperson masters, and I'm not going to say aloofness because I don't want them to be aloof with me, but when they act like it's not a big deal if I don't buy today.
It's apathy towards the sale. It's not apathy towards the consumer. It's apathy towards the, I know, you know, I know, we know that I want this sale, of course. But I don't need to acknowledge that. I don't need to sit here and be like, so what do I got to do to get you in that car today? Because if you get in the car today, tomorrow, a month, or a year from now, it's still coming back to you.
Because guess what? It's not my job to fill up your bank account.
Right.
That's actually not my job. And it's especially not my job to do it today if I'm not ready. So give me the space and give me the bandwidth to be able to make an informed decision. And if I trust you, and if you've made me comfortable with you, and if I've connected with you, guess what? When I make that decision, pretty good chance I'm going to come back to you. But a lot of salesmen have that rush on it.
Totally.
Where it's this, we feel their frantic thing for the sale, for the commission, for whatever it's all about, which isn't me.
Yep. And listen, some people are listening being like, well, I need to get my Q1 numbers up or my Q2 numbers. And I'm super duper sensitive to that. If your Q1 is underperforming because all of the sales you thought you were going to make didn't happen, but you still have those relationships that could come to fruition in Q2, and your Q2 outperforms what you thought it was going to be, well, now you have a nice even experience of Q1 being below, Q2 being over, and now you can focus on Q3. I get that there are incentive-laden professions and people need that for that particular week or month or year or whatever it is. I'm totally sympathetic to that. But a sale is a sale is a sale, and you will always feel good about it whenever you make it. Nobody has had a sale when they thought they were going to get it in January and they ultimately got it in September and were mad about it.
And I think the other piece of that too is in some our businesses are designed this way, but most are not. But if you feel like you're on that hamster wheel, like you're the salesperson on that hamster wheel, and if you're just running it that way, then I can tell you what you're not going to get is repeat sales from the same person.
Totally.
I mean, because I come back to people I know. I come back to people I trust. I come back to companies that I feel good about, right? And so it's not just about that sale in that moment. It's about all the other sales that you might make with me down the road.
And let me tell you, I have only had a small existence in sales. My business background is not sales related, but once I believed that every element of business was sales, I kind of approached it the same way. And the things that worked for me, and I can only speak for myself, is I knew for the most part, my product inside and out. And the best thing is to have conversations with people about your product because they're going to ask you things that you never thought of in a million years. And through that banter, you become so much more informed about something that you thought you already knew a lot about. The other thing is just get an elevator pitch down. You don't have to know it front and back, and you don't have to be really smarmy salesman when it comes to it. But if you know all the necessary talking points that are important if you were to give a 30-second elevator pitch, but then you can spread out over the course of a 20-minute conversation, that's equally as important as being able to just regurgitate all the specific and important information to somebody in the span of 30 seconds. But tailor it, like you said, to the individual in the moments that they need them, not all up front where somebody's like, so wait a minute, what is it that you do again? Because then you did a bad job.
Right. And I mean, like even when we were talking about this event I was at this weekend, I wasn't running around saying to people, hey, I'm a business consultant, I'm a business coach, why don't you hire me? Like none of that happened. I had the best time with a group of women talking, laughing, eating, having some cocktails, dancing one night, going from here, going to there. And I just feel, I already know that I have clients from it because it was just enjoying one another.
Totally.
And it was like, oh, what do you do? Oh, this is what I do. Oh, well, if I need that, I'm going to call her because I had such a great connection with her when I met her. Right?
I agree.
I mean,
I think that there is no right or wrong way to do. Well, there is no right way to do sales. There's a bunch of wrong ways to do sales. And if you're overeager and if you treat everybody the same way, and if you certainly don't understand the depth of what you're selling, those are bad places to start, 1,000%. And you have to take the emotion out of it. You can't be tied to the end goal of the sale because we already know that's what your goal is. But if you yourself are only focused on that, it's never going to happen, ever.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So I just think salespeople take a big, deep breath.
Totally.
Remember why you got into sales, and it was because genuinely you liked working with people.
Yeah.
And remember that and go back to liking working with people, which means connection, building trust, being honest, and letting them have the space to make the decision to buy in the time and space they need.
I love it. I think that's great. Any salespeople out there, let us know if you had some tricks of the trade, some tidbits you want to share with us as well.
We'll talk about it.
Good job, Internet. Deborah, we just kind of sift through the chaos that is the World Wide Web. We try to find things that resonate with us, that make us smile, that bring a tear to our eye, or that we just want to focus on. Clearly, we know you've had a bit of an ordeal this weekend, so you haven't had a ton of opportunity to find this stuff. I have some things that I can certainly talk about. I will lead this, and then you can add anything you want along the way.
So here's the thing about the whole internet piece.
Okay.
I feel like I find out about it too late, first of all.
Okay.
I'm saying that.
Okay, well, let's talk to production about that. Jerry, can we make sure that we tell Deb at least a day or two beforehand about the Good Job Internet? This is your job.
Okay. Secondly.
Yeah. You're on thin ice, Jerry. Thin ice.
I feel like it's competition.
That's a you thing.
I know. But then lastly, I don't feel like I've won.
Again, that's a you thing.
I'm not going to like playing this game if I can't win.
Jared, do we have Deb's therapist on speed dial? Because she's clearly in her feels about this. Jerry, can you please listen to me when I'm talking to you? We pay you a lot of money. This is the world's number one podcast, okay? Let's get Deb feeling better about herself, all right? That's your job. Thank you so much.
You go first.
He's going to get fired.
I know he is.
So there's this wonderful video. And it resonates with me because a lot of people say to you and I, why does Kevin refer to you as Deb?
Right.
And we've talked about that, just stemmed from me being annoyed with her and being like, okay, Debbie. And then it's just easier to say in a crowded room, hey, Deb, and only one or two people turn around. It's a video of like this infant toddler daughter, cute as can be, little strawberry blonde, hair's up in a ponytail. And it's all these edits of her referring to her dad by his first name.
Oh, that's hysterical.
So she'll like run up and she'll drop like a little block on his lap and say, here you go, Mike. Or he'll be like playing with her and she's like, I love you, Mike. And he's like, Dada, I love you, Dada. And she's like, Mike. It's so
Are you going to post it?
Great. It's wonderful because the idea that like, who cares about being called something? But you do. You care about being called mom. You care about being called dad. And it's one thing when your teenage son is just using it as an annoyance. But then when there's like this sweet little cherub-faced girl who's doing it because she can just read it a little bit. She just understands it a little bit. Oh my gosh, it's fantastic. There's another thing on the internet that's super hot in the streets right now because weddings are super hot in the streets right now. I have seen so many people going to or having weddings in the last month with the pandemic slowly coming to an end. I think hopefully, maybe fingers crossed, at least in this country it is. And so many people had put their weddings off indefinitely, having no idea when it was going to happen. And now they're bumping up against people who had planned for their weddings. So there's weddings on like Monday afternoons. There's weddings on Thursday nights. One of the things that's happening at a lot of these weddings is they're not using traditional flower girls.
Oh, yeah.
They're using
this is good.
groomsmen. And I'm assuming the groomsmen are the single guys. And I'm assuming the groomsmen are the more outgoing guys of the wedding party. And instead of like a little girl in a white dress with a flower crown, like staring for her mom and just throwing chunks of flowers on the ground, it's these guys who are probably just a little liquored up, but just to add a little to the atmosphere. And they usually have like a fanny pack on, sunglasses on. There's the normal wedding music. Maybe they hype them up with a little more contemporary music, and they themselves are walking down the aisle and just with the biggest, most over the top actions, throwing flowers on the ground, throwing flowers on all the attendees, and just making a really big spectacle of what was otherwise reserved for the cute 4-year-old that you knew from a friend of a friend. They've now entrusted their semi-drunk groomsmen to cast petals everywhere.
So I saw that one. And what
But there's multiple ones.
the ones I've seen, I feel like the guys have taken incredible opportunity of going down the aisle.
I think
people just dying.
You need the guy who doesn't care. Like I would be the petal flower guy.
Best.
I would chuck that stuff. I would spin. I would hand out single petals to people. I would make sure that everybody knew how important flower girl is. Flower guy. Flower groomsman.
Yeah. I did flip through the internet very quickly. Didn't find anything that was particularly incredible.
The entire internet. Deb didn't find one single thing that resonated with her.
At least it was coming to me. And so I've just decided to go a different way. So
okay.
I have 2 accounts that I follow.
There's really only 2 ways not sourcing from the internet can go. Real world or you made it up.
Yeah.
It's the internet, it's the real world, or it's fictitious in total.
So, by the way.
And I want to say this is probably the second time where we've had an internet-based segment that Deb's like, I understand it. I'm going in the complete opposite direction.
Different way. So I have 2 Instagram accounts I follow.
Oh, only 2?
No, I have lots.
Oh, okay, got it.
But I have 2 that I follow.
Well, this is on the internet.
Okay, and if I am in any kind of funk, these will both make me happy, bring me peace. Okay, I have something about that later. Will you remember that?
No, I won't.
Okay, so one is called Along Came Abby.
Okay.
And what I think it is, I don't have all the background. Abby is like a little Shirley Temple. She's a little messy Shirley Temple, okay?
Like a child actress?
No, but she's maybe 3, 4.
Okay.
Crazy curly hair.
Okay.
I mean, just a little.
She lives by herself in Soho?
No, like a little chunk in the cutest way.
Yeah.
And her mother is British. Her father's American, because we hear them interviewing her. You don't see them a lot, right? Yeah. But they just ask Abby questions, and Abby just chats. I mean, she's amazing. But I think the reason it's called Along Came Abby is because it looks to me like Abby has 4 maybe grown siblings.
Oh, so Abby's a little bit of an afterthought here.
Yeah. No, I mean like maybe the youngest one is 21.
Got it.
Yeah. So
what can we do to tell Abby we love her? Let's start an Instagram account for her.
Yeah. And first of all, she's a riot. She's funny. The stuff that comes out of her mouth, she's like loving and darling. She totally lies and makes stuff up, which I love.
Yeah, she's 3.
You can tell, when she's doing it. And like sometimes her dad will try to catch her in the lie a little bit.
Sure.
Like, but Abby, tell me about that.
Yeah.
And then, she will stick to it. I mean, like, she's got a heart. She's going to be something. But the beautiful part, my best Abbies, are when her dad starts to interview her about something and Abby's got no time for it.
Got it.
I mean, so along came Abby. She will make you laugh. You just think she's lovely. It's all that's good in the world.
Why did you think this had nothing to do with the internet?
Okay. And then my other one is called This Wild Idea. And it's a guy that I think lived in Nashville. I think he's from the South. It's his dog that got me watching this. Initially, it was just all these pictures of this beautiful dog. And I mean, in the weirdest places, on top of the truck, in the truck, on a canoe, in the water. So he has since sold his home in Nashville, moved to Montana, and built this home on the lake. So watching the home get built has just been a beautiful thing, and it's simple and gorgeous and right at the lake's edge, but the dog is always in it. I mean, you love the dog, and it's like the heart and soul of this thing just makes you great. So if you want to just watch 2 Instagram accounts that will never annoy you, never make you upset, always bring you some peace and love and make you feel good, This Wild Idea and Along Came Abby.
That's great, Deb. Thank you for following along with the actual segment. I only have one more, and I saw it today, and it made me laugh. It's the worst thing that we all hate when we go to a restaurant, which is the wait staff coming and singing "Happy Birthday" to you.
I hate it.
Absolutely hate it. So there's a woman filming her friend as the wait staff is singing to her. And just between the gap of where her friend is sitting and where a gentleman is sitting, you can see a bearded guy in the booth behind them, a side profile. So they're happy birthday to you, cha-cha-cha, whatever that thing is. And the guy's kind of nodding his head and he's like in a little disbelief. And then he kind of starts fist pumping towards the end. And you're like, oh, that's Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's Shia LaBeouf just kind of being taken aback by somebody else being serenaded the happy birthday song. And he's just kind of like lost in the moment. And he culminates it by like a big fist pump and being super happy that he got to experience the one thing that all of us normal people hate when we go out to a restaurant.
That didn't have anything to do with him.
True.
Yeah.
And though he's been canceled 1,000 times, it's still funny to see celebrities acting just like you and me. And that was good job, Internet. And I'll say, good job, Deb.
Oh, thanks, Kev.
Because somehow you thought referencing Instagram accounts wasn't part of the Internet.
I don't know. I get confused by it all.
Well, you had to wait, 7 hours in Chicago for a flight. We all get it. Deb, as we wind down, what are you thankful for this week?
Okay, do you remember the sound you were supposed to make again?
Bump.
So we on Saturday night were...
Not Saturday night.
On Friday night, we were at this beautiful house with this gorgeous deck looking out over Lake Michigan. And it was spectacular. We watched the sun fall into the lake. It was gorgeous. But there was the greatest DJ. I want to say one of the best DJs ever I've heard in my life. And it's this group of 80 women, right?
Yeah.
And so
I want everybody to understand this is the best DJ she's ever heard in her life because he played one song that she liked.
No. He played all songs that we knew for sure. But my friend Kamal was like a dancing machine. So she provided me so much entertainment, laughing my guts out. I have lots of pictures. And at some point she came and grabbed me and we just danced and danced and danced, which is like the greatest feeling in the world. However, my two favorite songs of all time.
Okay, here we go.
Bruno Mars.
Justin Bieber. Yep. Oh.
Not Justin Bieber. Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Uptown Funk.
Oh, yeah. We well established on this podcast.
And Justin Timberlake.
Oh, okay.
Dance, Dance, Dance. Is that what it's called? That's not what it's called. You know, the little Minion movie, Dance. What's it called?
It's her favorite song in the world, and she's asking me.
Yeah, and I got to dance to those two songs. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to Kamal for providing me an entire evening. And I don't believe Kamal had actually been drinking, so it was especially exceptional. An entire evening of incredible entertainment. And I'm grateful for Kamal for dragging me onto the dance floor so that I could dance to all my favorite music. And I'm grateful, I guess, to God for creating such a beautiful setting for it all.
Geez, now we're thanking God in our thankfuls.
Yeah,
Let's slow that down a bit.
It was a magical moment. I'm going to give it that. And then there was like, and you know these people, Carly and Kaya and Sherry and Julie, who like I haven't seen in so long. They were all there. It was just incredible.
Some would say that you can't stop the feeling.
I can't stop the feeling
of being thankful.
Yes, that's exactly
That's the Justin Timberlake song. That's her number 2 favorite song of all time that she doesn't know the lyrics of.
Yeah.
My thankful goes to this. Last week, the week before, we were just drop kicked into summer. It was 99 degrees. It was record highs for this time of the year. It was awful. We went from a 75-degree, beautiful spring day to just being hit in the face repeatedly by sunshine of 99 degrees. This week, spring heard our cry to ease us into summer, and it ratcheted back down to the mid-60s for a couple days. Windows open at night, cool breezes in the morning, just warm during the day, not hot. And we got to actually ease back into summer where it went from a couple 60-degree days to a couple 70-degree days. And now we're in the middle of the 80-degree days. And yes, towards the middle of the week, it is going to be triple digits, which is not ideal, but it's at least nice enough to understand that you're going to lose spring as opposed to just losing it.
Yeah, no. It is this when people talk, spring is the one season here that people talk about 4 seasons here all the time.
Yep.
But spring is the one that we may get robbed of.
Yeah, you might have it for a week and not know it.
Or you may not even get it. It just went from winter to summer.
Yeah.
And so we are so grateful for spring here, because when it's like in the 70s and low 80s, it is spectacular.
It's lovely.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So I'm thankful that I got to just, say goodbye to spring, wave a little bit, appreciate it, and now just, wear tank tops and short shorts because I'm just going to sweat the remainder of the next 3 months. Deborah, we didn't have anything last week for food.
Oh, you guys didn't eat?
Well, I mean, we ate, but we didn't have anything for the topic of what's for dinner. While you were gone, I made some taco meat. Not hard, but I made it. Homemade meatballs, which I'm going to go on record in this podcast on saying it's the best meatballs I've ever made.
Wow.
Bar none.
Okay.
Heavily seasoned.
Good.
Delicious.
Ladies, he can cook.
I also made, you'll see a theme here, I also made some very tasty hamburger patties. So a lot of red meat since you were gone. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to do whatever you want in the kitchen. We can repurpose some of it for leftovers, or you can just go totally off the wall, something new. So Deb, what's for dinner this evening?
I'm thinking halibut.
Oh, just for the halibut.
I'm thinking halibut. You like the way that I do halibut.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think we'll do a few extra fillets and have halibut for tacos.
That sounds delicious. Deb, I'm not going to have you speak for the remainder of the podcast because I don't want to do any more edits. And with that being said, that's going to do it for this Monday's episode of the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like, rate, and review wherever you listen to this podcast. If you're brand new to this podcast, thanks for hanging with us in one of the weirder podcasts that we've talked about. But the best thing you can do to support us is to do what I just said. You like the podcast, you review the podcast, you rate the podcast. That helps us move up. That helps us get more exposure. And that's a win-win for everybody involved. You can also follow us on all of our social channels at Deb and Kev Pod. And with every Monday episode, you can find us on YouTube at Deb and Kev Pod. Mom, I'm so happy that you're home. It took a long time, but it was well worth the wait. I'm happy you had fun with your friends. And I'm so excited that we got through an episode where I referenced peeing my pants together. I love you to death.
I love you, honey.
We'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. Follow Deb and Kev on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter at Deb and Kev Pod.